With its abundance of waterways and hot temperatures, Florida is known as the epicenter of wakeboarding. Today's riders, they go bigger and they fly farther off a boat wake than ever before. And when you throw in floating skate parks with ledges and kickers, it's easy to see that wakeboarding has morphed into an entirely new sport for 2012. We have 45 of the world's elite here, and they're all vying to find out who is the best amongst them overall. This is the Wake Open presented by Casio G1 Commando. You're watching the Redbull Signature Series. Welcome to Florida, where thousands of spectators have come by foot and by boat to gather here in the harbor in the heart of downtown Tampa for the first ever Redbull Wake Open. Hey everybody, Sal Masakela here on a hot and beautiful day, and we will see our riders test themselves in 3 disciplines. They're gonna huck themselves off the wake behind the boat, over giant kickers, and of course, the rails of the state-of-the-art floating skate park behind me. We will see big airs, big technical inverted tricks, and of course, some entertaining slams. These are the things that we can look forward to today, as these athletes are gonna battle to be named the overall champion of the first ever Redbull Wake Open. We're kicking things off here on day 3. So how about we check in with my man, Todd Harris and Jeff Barton.
Well, Sal, the premise is simple. Negotiate this course with as much style and innovation as possible, while at the same time landing your tricks cleanly, and you're on your way to the crown of the park course here in Tampa. And Jeff, take us through the format.
Yeah, Todd, the format's gonna go like this. We've got 4 heats with 3 riders each. Top 2 maneuvers are going to represent for their score. High risk is going to earn the high rewards from our judges, and it's going to lead to that accolade, getting that coveted finals position.
Conditions are good. Course, Jeff, even better. Now remember, we've got 3-man heats here. They're getting 4 runs, but the interesting thing is you've got a score in each run. They're taking your best score off of each cable run. So the 2 courses, as we get a good look at Case and Cider Hound, a young man out of Northern California, now residing in Tahoe.
Yeah, going up off that corrugated pipe. And right now, Todd, he's on course number 1. Each of these athletes is going to be hitting course number 1 2 times and course number 2. 2 different dynamic parks gives their athletes lots of options out there. As you see, the NorCal Ripper with a nice 180 nose press out. And then coming off the kicker, there's one. Oh, going for a big 7 right there, but good scores up to that point.
Cider Hound has 4 runs total. Now we're taking his 2 top scores, but out of this heat, you've got to have that top score. There's no runner-up that moves on to the final. Only the top guy out of each heat is moving on to the prestigious final.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable battle right now. As we're taking a look again, here he's coming up onto that corrugated pipe. Goes up 270 on, 90 off. A nice looking move right there. Now you're gonna see him coming back over. Look at that. Does almost a full 180, almost a 180 to 50-50 transfer step down. And then here it is. There's 1 rotation, there's the second, but unfortunately dropped that handle.
So Case and Cider Hound makes his way back to the dock. He's got 2 runs down. He's got 2 more to go, combined of his best 2 scores on each course, and that'll give him his final score.
I thought you would get to pick.
Oh, okay, cool.
So course 1, he's got a 20.06. He'll want to get rid of that. He'll want to get rid of the 32.93. He may have to hold on to it. Right now, let's check in with a third member of our broadcast team, Tina Dixon, with a living legend, Parks Bonifay.
Parks, you've had a chance to take a look at this course. Tell us how Wake Park has really come alive.
I mean, Redbull's done some wake events like this, but nothing quite to this extreme. This is bigger than we've ever seen any wake park contest ever. We got 2 floating quarter pipes, 2 System 2.0 stretched out. You got the best riders in the world. Crowds here, it's a big one for wakeboarding.
And this has been a 3-day event. Just what does this mean for the progression of the sport?
You know, finally wakeboarding's got to a point to where it's branched out into all these different aspects of wakeboarding, from the big air, best trick, to the traditional form of boat riding, and now the floating wake park. So just for the fact that Red Bull captures it, puts it on this kind of stage live on NBC, in front of Tampa Bay, in front of all these people, it's the biggest day in wakeboarding's history for sure.
Well, looking forward to it, and I know we'll be hearing from you later in the booth, but Todd, let's send it back to you right now.
All right, thank you very much, Tina. You're looking at Rafael De Rome, and we do want to mention that Parks Bonifay will be joining us later in the broadcast to call some of these runs. It'll be nice to have his expertise. Now, Rafael De Rome comes to us by way of Canada, just outside of Quebec, and we've seen this kid throughout the week at practice, behind the boat. Is there anything he can't do?
You know, it doesn't seem so. He had a strong showing in our wake competition. In the big air, he stood up top. But look at that right there. His prowess up there on that ledge, 180 up, and then spinning like a top coming off it. There's his quarter pipe hit, and that's where the cable makes its way back down course again. That's the cool things about these cable systems. You're seeing them transfer out. Wow, a huge, almost going beyond 180, 270 to nose press, and then there it is, the double half cab roll coming off the kicker. He does a 180 and then 2 inverts. Sick riding right there.
Canadian Rafael De Rome on his second run of 4 here in the semifinals, looking very polished indeed.
Yeah, we're gonna go back and take a look at some of his highlight moments here from that run. And again, you have to stand up everything. Once the rider falls, your scoring stops at that juncture. Obviously, Raf is gonna get some big scores. Here is coming in, it's called the ledge. They actually have to what's called ollie or hop up about 3 feet, Todd, onto a steel rail. Now we're seeing actually, this is the transfer down. He goes beyond 180. There's a 270. Look at that. That's a nose press coming off, or actually what was the tail of the board initially, and then a 90 back out. That was unbelievable right there from Raf. And now here's the kicker. There's the 180. First invert. Look at the grab. His centrifugal force is in full effect, and he lands it. This is going to be an unbelievable score.
So De Rome looking for something special. Remember, we only keep your 2 best scores, 1 on each course. And on course number 2, a 39.26. Now remember, that's based on a 50-point score. So there you see his combined. Rafael De Rome has 2 more still to come. You are watching the Redbull Wake Open from beautiful Tampa, Florida. We'll be back with more right after this. Well, as the action continues here in Tampa next to the Tampa Bay Convention Center, we want to take you back to earlier this summer where one of the most historic events took place at just an absolute beautiful spot, especially if you're a surfer. It was the Nike Lowers Pro. Just over 2 months ago, the legendary break that is Lower Trestles was firing. Over 5 days, the top world surfers competed head-to-head at the Nike Lowers Pro. North Shore native John Florence laid down a massive frontside air 540.
Yeah, popped it out to the flats. The judges are going to love that.
Irishman Glenn Hall combined power carving and strategy.
Boom.
Into a performance that took him all the way to his first finals appearance in a prime event. But in the end, no one could touch Gabriel Medina. Gabriel would take the only perfect 10 of the contest.
Fifth move, he likes it.
And celebrate victory with his fellow countrymen.
A performance for the ages.
From the high-performance waves of the Nike Lowers Pro to the high-pressure spectacle that is the Nike US Open of Surfing. The Red Bull Signature Series brings the heartbeat of surfing's core to the masses. Drawing more than 500,000 spectators to Huntington Beach, California, the Nike US Open of Surfing is the largest surfing event in the world. Beachside stadium seating gives a perfect view of both young competitors,
Sizzling top turn there,
and seasoned veterans. Last year's victor and the most dominant surfer on the planet, Kelly Slater, will match up against the likes of Miguel Pupo, Gabriel Medina,
right over his board,
and John Florence. As with lowers, the Nike US Open of Surfing is a heavily weighted ASP Prime event with World Tour implications.
Drama.
Full of missed opportunities and triumphant victories. Catch the action from the Nike US Open of Surfing, September 15th, right here on NBC.
Well, we definitely saw some amazing surfing at the Nike Lowers Pro, and we are seeing things taken to the next level here at the Red Bull Wake Open. Now, wakeboarding is the youngest sibling of all the action sports. It's really taken its time to progress over the years, being inspired by skateboarding and surfing. Let's take a look at the evolution of this ever-evolving water sport. In the 1950s, just for kicks, people started riding surfboards behind a boat. But the dawn of wakeboarding really happened in 1987 with the invention of the scurfer.
We're a bunch of crazy Southern California surfers running around the world going, water skiing sucks, scurfers rule.
The next boom in popularity came with an offering from Herb O'Brien in 1991, the Hyperlight Pro.
When we made the first board, that was the first time that you had really contact and feel and energy riding it more like a board and not just a toy behind the boat.
You could go bigger, you could land harder. Like compression molding was definitely a huge step forward for the sport.
Doesn't get any better than this.
In the early 90s, the Pro Wakeboard Tour took shape along with the first World Championships. Legends like Scott Byerly, Gator Lutgert, Darren Shapiro, Parks Bonifay, and Sean Murray helped promote the sport worldwide.
When wakeboarding was introduced into the X Games, it really got us before the masses, and people started to be able to see what it is. Because sometimes you'll just say, yeah, I wakeboard, and people don't know what it is. But once you get into the sport, you realize there's like 5 million people doing it.
The new millennium has seen radical changes in progression. There's new board technologies, wakeboard boats, cable parks, winches, PWCs, and more help the sport evolve on a daily basis.
I feel like wakeboarding is on the fast track to become one of the biggest, action sports out there because, all in all, it's a cool social environment that everybody can have fun with.
Well, the action continues here at the Tampa Convention Center on a beautiful day. Rather warm, but it is fantastic. The course is absolutely beautiful as thousands of fans have poured down to the shores here to watch the very best in the world compete at the Red Bull Wake Open. Well, we also have a 3-part series going. You've got 3 elements to this event. You have the boat, the big air, and of course the park. Earlier, the boat competition took place, and here's how we called it. Just outside of Tampa is Sunwest Harbor Town, also known as the Quarry. Now, we've made it down to our 4 finalists in the boat portion, and this place, JB, is absolutely epic. The conditions are perfect. We're going to kick things off with our first rider. It's going to be Adam Errington, representing Scotland, just 24 years old. This kid has got style.
You know what? He's having a great 2012 season already. A few weeks back, he won a double-up invitational competition. He's a former national champion. So right now, Adam Errington, as first off the dock, he's got to lay the pressure down. And Todd, that's how you do it, by dropping a hammer like that. A toe side 720, 2 full rotations. Now his Hillside approach, look at the height, another 720.
Remember, it's your best 5-trick pass that gets you to the top, and right now he is laying down so many different tricks, showing so much style and versatility.
You gotta be a dynamic rider. That method scarecrow move, look at that move. That's one the judges definitely have not seen. It is a big 360, and he rewounded a backside 180, and here's his double up, 1, 2, oh! He almost had the 1080 Todd, but the handle eluded him.
So the 24-year-old representing Scotland has a good run, but not a full pull.
Look at that, there's one rotation. There's the second rotation. That was his 720 that kicked off the event. A strong start for Easy-E, Adam Errington.
We're gonna step aside right now and give you a little education in Wake 101, something we like to call trickology.
So when wake riding, you've got a few different aspects to look at. You've got your flips, you got your spins, and you got straight airs.
If you want to really get noticed going upside down into what we call tech tricks, you got to do somewhat of a mob.
So a mob is a flip with a 360-degree spin. And nowadays we're doing mob 5s pretty consistently, which is a flip with a spin and a half.
So with wakeboarding in the 1080, you guys may not notice, but we actually have to pass the handle 4 separate times, which gives it like another element to make that trick harder, because you could drop the handle or miss it.
Something for me that I really enjoy watching is just straight airs. When a guy's just going high into the air, getting stuck in a grab and just flying through the air and looking like he has a lot of just grace.
No matter how difficult and how crazy the trick is, if it doesn't look good, then there's no point in doing it.
When you see somebody riding down the lake, no matter how far away they are, and you can tell who it is, that's like a stamp that's gonna stay in your brain for a long time.
To this day, there's still some new tricks coming out, but for the most part, right now, we're just adding 180s or an extra flip to things, so we're just adding that 180 in the title.
You are now up to speed with trickology. Prior to that, we saw Adam Errington throw down a 40.66, the 24-year-old with Scotland. Probably not going to get him on the podium, especially with the talent yet to come, including this guy, 18-year-old Harley Clifford, coming to us by way of the Gold Coast of Australia. This guy may be one of the most feared on the water.
Todd, sports all across the globe have guys like this, athletes that are pushing the envelope, that are progressing the sport and saying to everybody else, hey, keep pace with me or you're gonna fall way behind. Take a look right now. Now, Harley is just coming off a 2-week tour of Australia where he didn't ride. He had one quick training session last night, but look, it looks like he's in fine form. A big, explosive 360 backside. Starts out his first pass, and there is 2.5 spins, a 900. He is definitely looking en fuego.
Third trick, just as smooth. Looks like he's having no problem adjusting to the quarry here. Remember, 5-trick pass plus the double up.
It was a slim chance or a front flip mob 540. Another mob 540 variation, this side on his toe side, a crow mob 540. And this is the last move, another 540 mob. Unreal. We've seen nobody link it together like that.
All right, here we go. This will be the double up. What do you expect from him?
Well, Harley's been working on double inverts. He's got 900s, he's got 1080s. You never know. This could be a secret that he's getting ready to drop right here on the world. There's one, there's two, 2.5 spins. But strangely, he butt checked out of it.
Beautiful rotation, great trick, but on the landing is where the problems ensued. Let's take a look at it one more time. Remember, this is Harley Clifford.
He's going up. You're going to notice 2 full rotations, and then the last one for the 900. He'll want to be on his toe side edge, but he was on his heels.
Will it be enough to take the win here at the Redbull Wake Open? We'll be back to Tampa, Florida after this. Back in Tampa for the Redbull Wake Open. We've completed the boat portion of this 3-part discipline of the Redbull Signature Series. Coming up, we've got the Big Air. Now, we started with more than 20 competitors, all trying to launch themselves on this beautiful picture-perfect course here next to the Tampa Convention Center, and we worked our way down to the 4 elite. And then there were 4. We have made it to the final. This is it, the Big Air portion of the Redbull Wake Open. Starting things off will be 24-year-old Erin Wrathy coming to us from British Columbia. Now, same form as saw in the semis, you'll get 3 poles. Best score walks away with the title here in Tampa.
Be interesting to see as well if Erin Wrathy comes correct with that same move that got him through the semifinals, or if he's going to choose to drop that hammer coming straight out of the gate. Parks, any insight on that?
Well, he's switching it around. No, here he goes. He's going to do the mute double. Lock it down first trick, get it under your belt, start going from there.
Bam! Gets some. You know, it was one of those moments right there. You could see the way he exited the top of the ramp. You knew he had this thing on lock.
Nice opening shot for Erin Wrathy. This is the final, his first hit of 3. The young man from Nanaimo, British Columbia, with a nice opening hit.
And there's no better feeling than on your first trick, first attempt, stomping it. It gives you so much more confidence for the last 2 hits that you have. So not only that, you're putting tons of pressure on the other 3 guys, locking in the grab. This is as big as anyone's doing it right now, and he landed it just as clean as we've seen any of them. So judges have to love this.
And that's the thing, the pop. When you're transferring from the water, there's so much more friction going on between your board and the water and the ramp and your board. It's like hopping up onto a sheet of ice. That's why you see people sometimes sliding out laterally, but he had it locked.
So he will set the mark to beat, and it's a good one, an 88.76 for Erin Wrathy of Canada. Brenton Priestley, young man who stepped up big in heat number 2. Remember, it came down to his final run. He goes out there and throws it down. So the young man from Melbourne, Australia, just 23 years of age, set to take his first run of 3. Now, building off the momentum, Parks, that he had in heat number 2, what do you expect from him? Or does he go right back to that same trick?
Well, he can't let his guard down like he did in the semis. He fell on his first 2 attempts, and it took him 3 tries to land that double. He has to do what Wrathy did. He has to get a trick underneath his belt on the first one. It's going to be interesting to see if he opens up with that mute hill 7 or what he's going to do.
And we'd seen him before, too, like when it was compared against J.D. Webb's. His wasn't as big, wasn't as explosive, but his landing was rock solid. That's much better.
There we go.
Wow!
So Brenton Priestley saw what Erin Wrathy did and said, you know what, I'm going to put the pressure on the other 2 guys, and he comes out, and I think you hit it, JB. Beautiful landing.
Yeah, I like what he did. You know what, you can almost tell when they're coming off the top of that ramp, when they're not sliding ladder. At this point, you just know he was going to stop that thing because he just was moving so fluidly with a proper line tension.
Man, I feel so bad for the judges having to judge these 2 tricks, even though they're the same. They're almost identical, almost about the same height. And I mean, I bet they wish they had the same replay we had.
Yeah, right. They're watching it in real time, man.
That super slow-mo shows just how beautiful. Look at that.
Keeping the hand out of the water, every detail perfected.
And he does it in 91.36. So that now becomes the mark to beat as Brenton Priestley steps it up. We'll have much more of the Redbull Wake Open from Tampa, Florida when we return. You're watching it on NBC. Toasty afternoon here in Tampa, Florida. Join the flotilla or just hop in the bay and cool yourself down. We are in the midst of park semifinals. We'll get back to live action shortly, but first we want to get back to the big air and get that all wrapped up. We rejoin as the second runs are set to go down. Brenton Priestley, Florida has been very, very good to him so far because why? He's sitting on a 91.36. He is our leader, and this is his second run. Feeling the confidence. Parks, you've been there before in competition where everything just seems to be flowing. He came out of the semis, really was in 4th place and found his way into the final. Now everything seems to be going his way.
Yeah, you can tell by his charisma right now and the smile that he's in the zone right now. His heart's beating, he's pumped up, the crowd's here, it's glassed off, he's in the finals. He's already got a lock trick for his first one, so the pressure's kind of off him, although he does have some gnarly riders and he knows he can get beat. Probably within 1 trick really quick.
Well, we're going to see it right here coming in on a nice big hillside approach. There's a big spin. Oh, a big 9-hundo this time.
Boom.
Guys showing some diversity.
How about the versatility? Going with the double to open things up. How about spin to win on run number 2?
Amen, brother.
You can tell how much more angle he took at this as opposed to Rafael Jerome's 1080. Really locking in. I don't know if he locked in the grab as much as he did, but he did do a 900. You can't waste too much time on a grab when you're trying to squeeze a 9 in.
Yeah, there's 2.5
there it is.
solid rotations. A little tick, a little something, but look at that. Right in the small of his back. Notice his elbows never go further beyond 90 degrees, keeping that handle in. Handle control is the key to a move like that.
4 complete handle passes while in the air, and as you said, JB, a little tickle on the board for the grab. That would probably be the only deduction, and a pretty sweet landing. Priestley already sitting on a 91.36. Run number 2, respectable, but at 84.43, he'll throw that away. Remember, it's 3 runs. We only keep your best score, and right now, Priestley is your leader. Rafael De Rome came in as the number 1 qualifier out of semi number 2. He's sitting on a 76.36. Not familiar territory for him. He'd like to jump in front of the Australian Harley Clifford, or excuse me, Brenton Priestley, who's sitting on a 91.36.
This is interesting right now because you gotta ask yourself: does he think that he can really do a cab roll better than Brenton's? You know, he's done it every time. I haven't seen him bobble on it in about 3 months. So, will he go for the Hillside 1080 that he knows will trump the double, or will he try to just one-up the actual double?
I can't see him trying to do that. I think he's going to go with a unique move that's going to be a big spin. 1, 2. Oh! Yes, sir!
You can tell by that handle throw, he liked that one.
How about this? He almost lands on the water cameraman out there, but still able to land it cleanly and ride out. But will it be enough to top the 91.36?
We'll have to give that guy some hazard pay. There's the first spin. There's the second spin. And look, there's the third spin, a 1080. Step on over to the side. We are going to have ourselves a new leader.
That is so insane. With all that handle tension, 1 handle pass, 2 handle pass.
Are his eyes closed?
He's probably texting in there. He's that talented.
He is closing his eyes.
Close and go.
Oh,
Look
with
at
2
only
fingers.
2 fingers. Oh, man. There's nothing more frustrating than landing a 1080 with 2 fingers and popping the handle.
Sometimes 2 fingers is all it takes.
So Rafael De Rome on his second pass goes into the lead with a 93.46.
Wow.
Still much more to come from the big air competition here in Tampa. You're watching the Redbull Wake Open, part of the Redbull Signature Series. Well, while we have a break in the action, our intrepid host Sal Masakela thought, you know what, while I'm here in Tampa, it's the wakeboarding capital of the world, why not go out and get a few pointers, and who else to get a lesson from than the legend Parks Bonifay?
I'm about to show you how hard wakeboarding really is. You're welcome, America.
Soak it up.
Let's do this.
I see a lot of stuff here. What does it mean?
Well, we got a wakeboard, we got boots, and some bindings. So
There's boots in wakeboarding?
no more bungees and 1 foot in, 1 foot out when you're in the air. You are locked in. You gotta be hot right now. Let's get you in that water.
Okay.
Let's go for a ride.
That freak, let go. You can't make it if you let go. I got it. Don't make it break out the duct tape.
I see them dancing in the crowd. They sing
now!
I had a blast. I honestly did not think I'd be able to make it across the wake.
And for more good times, why don't you check out youtube.com/Redbull and watch my behind the scenes show. It's called Traveling Sal. Come ride with me. Good times guaranteed.
Back in Tampa for the Redbull Wake Open presented by Casio G's1 Commando. We've still got the park competition to wrap up as well as the final runs of Big Air. But right now, it is all about the sport progressing, getting bigger, pushing the limits. When it's all about progression, you think of one name, Phil Sylvan.
Phil Sylvan's been a professional wakeboarder since I think he was around 8 years old. He wins I don't know how many contests he's won in his career, but I've got to say it's over 100 events he's won.
Phil is the best competitor. He's got the best mind for it. The more pressure there is, the better he rides.
He is so intense. You would think that he's just the rudest guy out there, but he's not trying to be. He's just trying to win.
I'm coming up on having the most tour titles in the history of wakeboarding. I think I'm one behind Parks, and by the time I'm done with my career, I want to have that title.
And there is Phil Sylvan sitting dockside, a bit of a stunner, unable to get out of qualifying and make it into the semi. So right now, just taking notes, plotting his return. Speaking of return, we are back for the final runs of the Big Air competition here at the Redbull Wake Open. Well, I don't need an abacus to tell you it goes down like this. Rafael De Rome is sitting on a 93.46. He's the man on the left. The man on the right is 14-year-old Daniel Grant from Bangkok, Thailand. If he doesn't throw down a 93.47 on this run, Daniel Grant, sorry to put pressure on you, youngster, your winner will be Rafael De Rome.
That didn't look like a little G. He's feeling it. He's not feeling any pressure whatsoever. But he doesn't even know it's about to get underway. Parks, you used to go through life with that level of obliviousness.
Yeah, when you're 14, you don't have the same worries in the world. You can see he's like, he's clapping.
Giving applause to the thousands of fans who have turned out here at the Tampa Convention Center on a beautiful day, and we are down to our final 2 runs. Daniel Grant needing a 93.46 or better for the win, or Rafael De Rome is taking home the title.
If he lands this trick as good as he can take first place.
Look at this cut, too. It's going to be huge.
Oh my
gosh! Pete, did he go full 3 to back 5?
I think he did a toe side 3 to back 5. Look how psyched he is.
That was insane! Nobody's even touched that type of move.
And the judges are scratching their heads saying, what did he just do?
Oh, the judges are having some high blood pressure problems right now.
Homeboy was going around there giving the applause to the crowd. I had no idea that he was going to show us something we hadn't seen. Look at this.
Let's look at this.
There's a full 360, and now look, he grabbed it, rock solid grab too, and then brought it back down. Oh,
man.
Unreal.
Progression is the name of the game, and Daniel Grant at 14 living up to that motto.
Oh, that was straight filth. Parks,
you know,
Todd, I'm glad I'm up here with you guys because the judging position is going to be pretty treacherous right now.
Man, guys, I can guarantee you people have not even thought of trying, or even like in their head trying this. Like,
well, he told our Tina Dixon that when he's been traveling a lot, he's on the plane from Thailand thinking, you know, I got to come up with something. Maybe he thought this up at 32,000 feet over the Pacific, but what he needs is a 93.46 or better that will put him into the lead.
No.
Really?
Maybe they docked him.
6.66 for Daniel Grant. So he's going to stay in 4th place, and I think a lot of people are still scratching their head. Meanwhile, Rafael De Rome, the 20-year-old out of Canada, has secured the victory here at the big air portion of the Red Bull Wake Open.
Yeah, Raph.
Yeah.
And well-deserved. You know, we don't want to take anything away from him. That was a tremendous move by Daniel Grant at 14 to be an innovator on his last hit. But Rafael De Rome, consistently, he has been dominant.
He's been winning the heats time and again. And again, as I spoke, I was giving props out to Daniel Grant for throwing unique moves. You know what? Anybody else in a 1080 from anybody out here? No. Rafael De Rome, definitely deserving the accolades for being our big air champion here at this.
And it's not over yet. I have a feeling that he could possibly land a trick that we've never seen in a wakeboard contest ever. So if he goes for this, he was getting a little breather down here on the end.
He was still going for it after the semis. He'd had it wrapped up home and hosed, but he was still charging it.
This is for the crowd right here. He already has a gold medal in the pocket.
Oh, boy.
Come on, stick this. For the sport.
Oh, so close to that man.
Almost rides out of it. Rafael De Rome, despite that rough landing, is your winner. So the final result of the Red Bull Wake Open Big Air competition, Rafael De Rome of Canada takes home the top prize. His 93.46 reigns supreme. Priestley, Wrathy, and Grant round out the 4 finalists. Let's send it down to the dock and Tina Dixon.
Thanks, Todd. Well, congratulations, Raph. You know, a 3rd in boat, now a 1st in kicker. What is the mindset like for you? Because you have set yourself up nicely for the overall.
I did. I guess I rode really good in boat. I rode better than I was expecting. I rode really good at the park on the kickers, and so I got our 1st place. So yeah, I'm pretty in a good seat for final.
And let's talk about the trick you won here with the switch, Hillside 1080. How would you describe that trick?
I mean, 1080, we don't see it that often, but the thing is, on a Sesitech, on a 2-tower like here, it's pretty hard to spin. So 1080 was worth even more than on a normal cable, so I was pretty pumped on landing it. My first one was a bit sketchy, and then I did a better one to make sure the judges would love it.
Congratulations and good luck with the overall. Todd.
All right, thank you, Tina. Time now for the Casio Gs1 Commando Stop Moment of the Day. Congratulations to Rafael De Rome for the big win, but we got to go back to the 14-year-old Daniel Grant out of Thailand, launching the 360 rewind to backside 540. The kid at 14, an innovator pushing the sport, came up just short of the big air final, but he made it to the final, and again, the stomp moment of the day. To watch more Casio G's1 Commando Stomp moments, go to RedbullSignatureSeries.com on your mobile device. Well, from the beautiful waters of Tampa here in Florida to the terra firma found around the world, the X-Fighters series is something else that will just take you to a whole new level, and it's all part of the Red Bull Signature Series. Now in its 12th year, the X-Fighters World Tour is the mother of all freestyle motocross competitions.
Look at this, wow, huge transfer. Oh, what a great trick. Oh, look at that. Perfect.
Known for extravagant events in the world's most exotic locations, the 2012 World Tour kicked off on the glittering shores of Dubai.
Welcome everybody to the season opener of the 2012 X-Fighters World Tour.
Last year's world champion Danny Torres lost track of time and was eliminated early, while New Zealand's Levi Sherwood confirmed his nickname, the Rubber Kid, with unrivaled fluidity and extension. The second stop of the World Tour featured the largest course in X-Fighters history, at the very birthplace of freestyle motocross, Southern California. Frenchman Thomas Paget debuted in style with his signature move.
Nice.
But it was hometown hero Todd Potter maximizing use of this unique course with his versatile free-riding skills. His first X-Fighters victory launched him to the top of the points race. Stop 3, Istanbul, the event that was not to be. High winds would prove too dangerous for the contest to go on.
Sometimes you just run out of luck, and that's what happened to Red Bull X-Fighters tonight. We've got to call it on Istanbul and move forward.
And with only 3 stops remaining, the competition intensifies. The X-Fighters World Tour debuts at the Olympic Stadium in Munich, Germany, and culminates with an epic finale in Sydney, Australia. But next, enter the ring of Madrid's famed Las Ventas Bullfighting Arena. It is here that the best in freestyle motocross will make their charge for precious points as the season battle continues. Don't miss X-Fighters Madrid, airing August 28th on the NBC Sports Network.
One of the biggest progressions to the sport of wakeboarding in the past 10 years has been the introduction of the 2-tower cable system. It allows us to take wakeboarding to spots that you would never think you'd be able to go to.
Cable park riding is definitely becoming its own discipline. I mean, in the past, cable riding, particularly in Europe, has been all about guys dangling off a cable and doing air tricks. Now, particularly in the US, cable park riding is about a skate park on the water.
You're able to dial in your tricks. I mean, you can just repeat that move. You can hit that obstacle again and again and again and just perfect your move, so it allows you to progress really quickly.
Now you've really got a lot of guys out there just strictly riding rails, and there's so many good rail riders out there today. You've got Rafael Jerome, you got Mark Rossiter, Clay Fletcher. There's just a handful of guys that's really what they focus on, and it's really cool to see these guys ride.
The guy who's going to take the wake park title is the one who is going to flow from one obstacle to the next the best and not make it look like he forgot where he was.
You know, in the rail park, you're going to see guys, particularly like Rafael Jerome, Nico Von Larssen, and you're going to see these guys olling or switch ollie 180ing into a nose press. Their board's never going to come down on the tail. They're going to stay in that nose press and they're going to nollie out. I mean, some of the technical stuff you'll see go down on the rails will blow your mind.
So we're set to crown the winner of the final jewel here at the Red Bull Wake Open. It is going to be the park course, and we're happy to be joined by wakeboarding legend Parks Bonifay, Jeff Barton. I'm Todd Harris. Glad to have you all with us. Guys, this course in Parks, we'll start with you. is fantastic. And you told our Tina Dixon that's taken the sport to a whole new level. What feature out here impresses you the most?
Well, one that sticks out is the 2 floating quarter pipes. We've just started to really experiment with these quarter pipes in the last couple of years. So the fact that we have 2 of them out here, you get to hit one right foot forward and left foot forward. And you also have the elevated pool over there. It's about 60 feet long, completely different than any other rail out here. It's insane.
Yeah, that elevated pool over there with its 30 tons of water in there is pretty impressive. But you know what? Purely for the visual, Todd, I dig on what these guys are doing off this kicker. It's their last coup de grace move. They're really coming in, and it's the punctuation all or nothing moment. We're seeing some exceptional things coming right there.
Well, let's take you back to the second run recap of what has taken place while we were finishing up things in the big air. And we'll start things off with Rafael De Rome. This young man from Canada has come to Florida on an absolute mission. He has been consistent parks and no different here on the park course.
Yeah, you see him coming off the dock. He already knows pretty much what he wants to do. He's been practicing. These guys have had tons of practice, so they have all the time in the world to get it dialed. Coming in, this is a big ollie. That's like a 4-foot ollie, mid-waist. But this kid's got hot like a little bunny rabbit.
And there's his quarter pipe hit coming back down again. Just the spot where the cable turns back around and heads him down the other way, alleviating the need for a boat. Now he's up in that pool, and a nice 270 transfer up onto that ledge. And now the kicker move, the final one. There it is, the double half cab again. Jeez, flawless.
So De Rome on run number 2 of 4, looking very good. Another kid that has come here from quite a ways away from Austria. This is Dominic Hurdler, and we saw him during the week really open some eyes on what he's capable of doing in a course like this.
And this kid is so diverse. He's got tons of stees, tons of board control. Watch him on the quarter pipe, how solid he is.
And that quarter pipe is a relatively new feature, and a lot of guys aren't doing unique moves, but that up there, almost a little rock and roll pause up at the top, now up into the pool. Using the inside rail, nice, on the rail, transferring down 180 to 180 out, and then the kicker move, a backside mob or a regular mob with a nice method grab right there.
And the kids from up north have really been enjoying this hot weather. Another Canadian, Erin Wrathy, coming by way of British Columbia. We saw him in big air. He's going to be just phenomenal. You give him more options, and he'll light it up.
You know, one thing I was talking to Erin about earlier, I said, you know, Wrathy, if you got points for giving up the body for the sake of the sport, man, you'd be running away with this as you see him going up onto that corrugated pipe. Wrathy is a power rider, but he's got mad style.
Yeah, he's so good off the boat, and he's so good on rails. For the last 4 years, he's arguably been the best all-around wakeboarder there is. Coming into the kicker, he's been sticking doubles all week. And there's another one for the books right there.
So that's just a taste of what went down in the second runs here of the park course. More semi-action from Tampa, Florida and the Redbull Wake Open. But first, we send you to Jimmy Roberts in our New York studio for an ADT NBC Sports Update. Back at the Redbull Wake Open, Tampa, Florida, part of the Redbull Signature Series here. And we are into our final round of the semis. Now, these are the guys who have made it so far. Rafael De Rome of Canada, Dominic Hurdler of Austria, and Nico Von Larssen of Germany. Those 3 are in. We've got 2 guys still to take their final runs in heat number 4, and it's going to be Daniel Grant, the 14-year-old out of Thailand, and then Nick Davies out of the UK. And we are looking for one more finalist alongside Jeff Barton and Parks Bonifay. I'm Todd Harris. This kid absolutely lit us up at the big air competition. 14 years of age. His biggest concern was where he was going to find Skittles maybe afterwards, and he's still having a good time, and he's got a shot now to get himself into the big final.
Yeah, like I was saying yesterday, when I was 14, I was slinging change in a penny arcade back in the Jersey Shore. But this guy right here, what a preeminent position. I mean, and he's showing a lot of poise. Over there in Southeast Asia, there's a proliferation of cable parks out there. And these guys are really taking it big. Wow, a backside 3 up to a 50-50 on the corrugated pipe.
This kid has so much style for being 14 years old. I guarantee you there's probably no one else in this world who's done as many cable laps as this kid right here.
Oh,
it looks
what
like
goes on?
It looks like
he's still up and riding.
Still up.
You know, again, a fall stops your run, but that was merely, I would say, a skid.
Now he's got to sell it. He's got to sell it to the judges like, I meant to do that.
Todd, there's so many times you'll see guys coming in, slapping the water, looking angry. He just went up like a show person, threw on that, $1 million smile, and, that may carry some weight.
All right, Parks, break this thing down.
Here he comes into the corrugated. Backside 3 to 50-50. Just tapping the end of it. I bet he would have liked to get on that a little bit earlier. Here comes the toe side transfer. This is where he does a 270. And right here, the kink gets a little chicken legged. Why not do a tumble turn on the way out and throw a little barefooting into wakeboarding?
That's what he just did right there.
Amazing.
Traveling all the way from Bangkok, Thailand, Daniel Grant, just 14 years of age. That was his final run. Now remember, it's 4 runs, your 2 best scores on each course. So you get a good score on one course, you try to do it on the other as well. We'll see if he has done enough to get himself into the final. We'll be back with his score and Nick Davies of the UK and his final run here in the park competition. Beautiful aerial shot of the waterways here in Tampa, Florida. You're watching the Redbull Wake Open presented by Casio G1 Commando, all part of the Redbull Signature Series. There is Daniel Grant, the 14-year-old out of Thailand. Now, he's sitting good right now, but as we've talked before, guys, in some of the other disciplines, you've left the door open just a little bit. It comes down to our final competitor here in the park competition semifinals. Nick Davies from the UK knows exactly what he needs to do. We've done some simple math for you. If he gets a 38.07 or better, Nick Davies is moving into the final. If he does not get that score, guys, is Daniel Grant moving into the final.
Well, we can be simple about this here too, Todd. This run right now has a value of 50 points. So he's got to get a grade of a B+ or better on this right now to come away with this transfer spot. I've known Nick Davies for years. I'm a fan of his steez out there. But man, I've taken a shine to our young friend out there. Daniel Grant is something else. But right now, he's got a half a good job done.
Yeah, he's just kind of eased through these first couple tricks. He needs a 38, so he's going to have to step it up. That'll help right here, but he's going to need a hammer to pull him through. But he goes bigger than anyone I've seen off this kicker.
Oh, and Davies loses the grip and pretty much loses his transfer position into the final.
From my perspective, guys, that was a very casual approach. I mean, there were some explosive elements right there. I like the handrail that we're going to, I'm sure, get the opportunity to go back and take a look at, but everything coming back our way after the quarter pipe, as you'll see right now, straight-legged coming off the top of that ramp. He would have needed a 9. He got the spin for a 7, but you'll see here, the handle just goes bye-bye right here, loses the grip, and that's the end of the show for Nick Davies.
Yeah, I gotta kind of agree with you, JB. He kind of just put it on cruise control for having that be his last run of the finals, and he needs to get a 38 to get in. He had to step it up, and he just kind of kicked it on cruise control there.
So we will have to wait for the official word, but he needed a 38.07. The 2 experts to my right feel that he was not doing enough, and that means that Daniel Grant looks like he is moving on to the big show, the Final 4, and that's still to come here from Tampa, and he's going to join a list of very talented riders there with Rafael De Rome, Dominic Hurdler, and Nico Von Larssen, who have already advanced out of their semifinals.
You know, one thing I'm noticing in there is an absenteeism of North American riders right there.
If it's USA versus the world, USA is just down for the count right now.
So it is official. De Rome, Hurdler, Von Larssen, and young Daniel Grant, the 14-year-old from Bangkok, Thailand, will join them for the final here at the Redbull Wake Open. Those are your park finalists.
For more exclusive action, stories, and to find out what's coming up this year, check out RedbullSignatureSeries.com.
We have reached the Final 4 here at the Redbull Wake Open, the park discipline, presented by Casio G1 Commando alongside Parks Bonifay, Jeff Barton. I'm Todd Harris. Glad to have you with us. Guys, it's simple. You got 4 great athletes. They're going to get 3 runs. We're going to keep their 2 best scores combined. Now, 2 of those scores, they've got to come on each course. So you can't say, oh, I love course number 1. I'm going to shoot all 3 over there. You've got to get a score on each one. So you got to step up.
Yeah, Todd, this whole event this weekend is about being the most dynamic, diverse rider that you can be. So it just goes to show you should have your best effort from each course. You don't want to be a one-trick pony, as you see Rafael De Rome going up there, 270 on, 270 off that big corrugated pipe. Rafael has been impressing me all weekend.
No doubt. You can tell he has more course management than anyone out here. You're just locking into all the rails. Ooh, you haven't seen that all week, though. That's 2 guys getting tripped up on that kink right there.
Well, the good news is he has 3 total runs. The bad news is he's going to have to come back on course number 1, the one he's on right now, and he's going to have to stomp something.
And he's also, by default, now going to have to stomp his first effort on the second course. As you see here, Parks, you see where he's getting up to this kink. It seems where there's transferring to that step down. Right here is where the problems seem to happen.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the salt water being in Tampa Bay, but sometimes that salt water, when it dries, it can turn into a bit of a grippy sandpaper. You see it just kind of chokes him up there. You see him muscling all he can. Look at those guns coming through. Not letting go. He's a little pit bull.
Yeah, locked it in there for sure.
Well, the system here is fantastic. We can't say enough for System 2.0 towers from Sesatec, and the guys have done a great job with the kickers, the quarter pipe, the M-gap transfer, my favorite, 100 feet in length with a pool feature, and they brought in 30 tons more water to fill in the middle of that thing, and it's just a lot of fun. However, for Rafael De Rome, who you mentioned, Jeff, has had a great weekend. He won the big air. He got 3rd in boat. Trying to pull the trifecta here and getting the win, but he's put himself in a little bit of a tough situation.
And we haven't seen many falls from him, though, throughout the weekend. So, again, he's going to move over to the other side shortly and get a shot on course number 2 for a good score. But that's going to bring us right now to the guy over there representing for Europe. Dominic Hurdler's on deck.
Man, he looks so smooth in the semis to get in here. Everything he did, he just locked on perfectly. Perfect course management. Shane was telling me earlier, he was like, if you mess up on one, it kind of chain reacts your whole run. If you're off on one, you can throw off your quarter pipe, which throws off the next one, and then you have your hands full at the kicker. But Dominic lining everything up silky and smooth right now.
Yeah, his little handrail antics right there, 90 on, 270 out, now up to the pool. Does he come inside or does he go outside? He's going now, nice press.
360 out.
Yeah, and now here's his kicker attempt. He's going up.
Go.
Revert, got the grab in there. Not the most technically booted move, though, off that kicker.
So he'll have a decision to make. If he stomps course number 1, does he go back and try to improve course number 2, which he just completed, or does he let that one stand?
Well, it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, Raf has got to have everybody's eyes on him right now as we're taking a look. Look at going up to this handrail. There's a little back 90 to 270. Oh, sorry about that. I shortchanged him to 450 out off of that. That was a great looking move right there. Not necessarily a safety run, but right there, he would have liked to have taken that to a mob. He wanted to do another half turn with a handle pass. That would have been a bad move right there.
So the 20-year-old from Austria, Dominic Hurdler, has completed his first run on course number 2, and he gets a 26.76. Now remember, it's 2 runs combined score. So right now, Hurdler sitting in first place because Rafael De Rome fell on course number 1 on his first run. Takes us over to Nico Von Larssen, the young man from Germany. And while I've got this opportunity, Parks, I got to ask you, not being a homer like that, but are you surprised not to see any Americans, any stars and stripes here in the final?
Yeah, absolutely. I was surprised not to see it in the big air last night. And once again today, we're not seeing one red, white, and blue in the finals here. But Nico's dad actually is the one who designed the first Sesatec 2.0. So if there's anyone who's going to have an advantage on the System 2.0, and especially these quarter pipes, it's Nico.
That's some backyard stuff right there. That's like bringing everybody over to your house for the ball game right now and knowing where all the divots are in your backyard. Look at that. Nice. Backside 3 to 50-50.
He's going to need this kicker hit to be big, though.
Oh, it's a 7. But
pretty stock 7, no grab. Really, I think after watching those first 2 runs, he really just wanted to make sure he landed it, make sure he got a solid score underneath his belt, so it takes a little bit of pressure off and he can really get after it on course 2.
Now take a look here. There's his full rotation, 270 on, 270 off onto the corrugated pipe. Nice looking move. And now we're taking a look coming up to that M rail.
Backside 270 on, just falling off at the kink.
But take a look here in the rotation. Watch, he's hustling. Right here is like, oh, I'm not going to make it. I'm slowing things down a bit. So he knew just to keep it straight and get a good score under his belt.
Probably a smart thing.
Remember, it's a 3-run format. You have to get a score on each of our 2 courses, and so your 3rd run becomes, where do you want to clean it up? He'll pick up a 28.76, and that is on course number 1. That puts him now into first place, and that'll take us to our final 4 competitor, our 4th competitor here in the final, I should say, and this is 14-year-old Daniel Grant. He has been smiling since the moment he touched down in Tampa.
We spoke about earlier in the show, we showed the intensity with which Philip Sylvan approaches. This is the antithesis of that. That kid's out there just laughing, hamming it up for the camera. But I'll tell you what, it's go time, and look at that. Nice big old 180 on, backside 3 coming off of that handrail. So he might be having a good time out there, but he is abundantly talented.
Daniel Grant here on course number 2, his first of 3 runs.
You can tell he's going to line this one up perfect because he's going to have a big kicker hit here. This has been his stronghold on the whole course. Oh! Talk about a bell ringer.
Okay, we saw that during the big air competition. He had no problem reverting it around. This time, Parks seemed like he got a little late on the revert.
Yeah, it's like what Shane was saying. He looks like he came off a little deep off that rail, so it looked like it choked him up on the kicker. Remember, last night when he was doing this maneuver perfect, he had all the setup time in the world. You can pick your line, get off the kicker, but it looks like with this whole course down and back, it's giving him heck.
That's a cool angle right there. I'm not going to lie to you. What a great view. And now you're going to see him coming into that kicker. And there's a full rotation. There's a 5, and he's trying to rewind it back 180 degrees. I'll tell you what, if nothing else, guys, that kid was committed to that move.
So here's the situation for him. His first of 3 runs goes awry. He's going to have to go back to course number 2 and clean that up because a 20.66 will not get him there. But he's like, yeah, I'm 14. What do you want me to do? I'm here in Tampa having a great time. So all of our competitors have taken a run. They get 3 in total, but they've got to have clean runs on both course 1 and course 2. We'll be back with the second runs of 3. You're watching the Redbull Wake Open from Tampa, Florida. We're back after this. It's the Redbull Signature Series. This is the Redbull Wake Open from beautiful Tampa, Florida. With Sal Masakela, Tina Dixon, Parks Bonifay, Jeff Barton. I'm Todd Harris. Glad to have you with us as we move on in the park final. It's a 3-run format. We only keep your best score on each course. And this is Rafael De Rome. Now, he's opting, guys, to go over to course number 2. Not going to clean up course number 1. He fell on his first run, so he's going to have to do that last. Here he is. We're only keeping your 2 best scores.
Man, this has got to be a pressure cooking run for Raph, and see he's handling it really well. He dials these quarter pipes, locking and getting just above the coping up there.
Come up to this transfer pool now. He's going to go to the outside rail. Nice. Wow. It's like a back 270 to back 270 on out, and now his kicker. There's one, humongous!
Yeah.
Wow!
Man, that was a clutch run. After falling on that first pass, it really just backed him into a corner, and he had to deliver.
And he did it right out of the gate as well. I was impressed leaving the area knowing that he has got a throwaway pass number 1, so he has to go big on these next 2 efforts. That move coming up to that handrail, that's a devious little piece of machinery right there. Look at that. You got to hop up almost 4 feet. Like you said, there is a 90 to another, almost a full 270 out, 540 in total there of spinning. And then coming the other way. Look at this grab, and Parks, you pointed out yesterday during Big Air, it's all about the centrifugal force. Holding onto that rail, creating the spin, spotting his landing, letting go, stretching out those legs, and then making it look like it ain't no thing. Unreal. Raph, 2012, it's his year.
It is.
A little bit of breaking news on 2 fronts. By virtue of making it to the final, Rafael De Rome has secured the overall win for the weekend for the 3 disciplines. Now remember, he won Big Air, he got 3rd in boat, and here he is. The worst he can do in park is 4th place. So he gets the overall victory for the weekend, and on his first pole on course number 2, absolutely stellar.
Well, you know what then, Todd? By default, that makes Rafael De Rome right now currently the most dynamic wakeboarder in the world. There's never been a contest that has had these 3 elements that has been this dynamic. And Raph not only appearing in all the finals, winning 1 element, taking 3rd, and then that run right there, nasty. My hat comes off to the Canadian.
And speaking of hats, I've said it before, I'll say it again. He's got the coolest wakeboarding hat in the world. It's a batting helmet that he's turned around backwards.
What'd you say? All he needs is a Montreal Expo
Montreal
logo on there.
Expo's
Bring
logo
it
on
back,
there.
Raph.
Look at that.
The Expos live through you.
Look at that, 42.36. So remember, his first run came on course number 1. He can throw that 16.56 away and throw down something duplicate of that. He could be looking high 80s, low 90s by the time this thing's done.
Oh, he's super psyched to get that second run locked down after kind of fluking it on the first one. A lot of weight just got lifted off his chest for sure.
So after singing the praises of Rafael De Rome and his accolades this weekend in Tampa, we move on in the competition. This is Dominic Hurdler out of Austria, the 20-year-old. Now remember, wow,
That got close right there. He was trying to do a gap over the M rail right there and almost came up a little short.
He was taking a little bit different line though, which you got. The judges are going to notice that. This course is easy to take the same line as everyone.
That was
overturned hurricane slide almost.
Look, you know what? Somebody else helped him out there. They slowed the rail down for a minute. There's that back move that he'd wanted earlier. I'm sure the face slap wasn't what he was looking for though, but he got it.
He got that one. Oh, so frustrating. He made that every time pretty much in the big air and all of practice. So for him to be in the finals and have him get choked on that same trick twice, it's got to be so frustrating.
Dominic Hurdler on run number 2.
Trying to go in with a reverse. He goes 180 and then tries to tail press. Didn't nail that, and then look how much slack he had in the line. Grabbing that board. Now there's the move. There was the handle pass that he missed from pass number 1. And there's the facial. None for me, thank you. You can have that one, Mr. Hurdler.
So the Austrian unsuccessful on his pole and looked like he was just rushed through that routine on course number 1. Guys, the big question a lot of people at home may be asking on these cable parks, who's driving the cable and how much really latitude and adjustments can you make on the fly?
Well, you have 2 cable drivers down there, and they strategically put them down there by the quarter pipes because that's kind of the hardest thing to do. The guy edges out for the quarter pipe. The controller has to stop it, watch him go up, and as he comes back down the transition, he'll start it going back the other way.
And the nice thing about the cables as well, Todd, is they can stop on a dime. Unlike a boat where you've got to let the boat cease its forward movement and then come back around and turn back around. If these guys fall or stop at any juncture, they can stop that cable immediately. The rider literally is never further than 6 feet away. If you've got an adept cable driver, which obviously we've got the best in the world out here today.
Hurdler gets a 20.70 on run number 2, so some serious work for him. This is Nico Von Larssen, 28.76 on his first run. He'll be on course number 2. Now remember, you need a top score on either course, and then your third run, you can choose which one you want to do again.
Up 90 to 90 onto a nose press to a nice 180 on out.
Nico had by far the best run on all the guys' first run, so a little bit of pressure taken off him. Can he seize this moment and let him have it with the gates down? A backflip coming off a little early, lining up this kicker. This is going to be a make or break for old Nico.
Off the side.
There you go, getting the grab, stepping it up from that last one. First round he did a toe side 7 without a grab. That one was a grab 900, so he is progressing forward.
Here we're going to see him coming in again up to the pool. Love this angle. Now look, stepping down, a nice big old nose press, getting that board out 90 degrees perpendicular to the way he's traveling, and then coming off. There's the first rotation, little grab in there. There's the second rotation, and he's got the other half a turn right there. A nice 900.
And he may be from Germany, but it looks like he's rocking some Carolina blue Nikes there. I mean, give it a little local flavor here.
Big young Michael Jordan fan.
Nico Von Larssen, a great first run. As the guys pointed out, it is a 3-1-3 format, and we keep your 2 best scores, but each score has to come on one of the 2 courses. So Nico Von Larssen in a good situation that'll take us to Daniel Grant, who is the final competitor here in this competition to take his second run of 3, waiting for the scores to come down for the young German, who you guys pointed out has a little bit of advantage. He knows this system well, talking about good cable drivers and the system setup. His dad had something to do with that.
I was just thinking, there's not one person in this finals that's over the age of 20 years old. Like, how much younger and better can these kids get each year?
Yeah, I think I'm out of the game for sure these days.
Oh, no, you're young enough, JB.
I think I'm about 42. I can still rock with these guys. Actually, you'd have to get 2 of these guys and then maybe some other little kid brother to equal what I have going on.
31.06 from Nico Von Larssen of Germany. That puts him into first place, so he's in a good place right now. 2 runs securely in. Now he decides which course to take his third and final run. Meanwhile, this is Daniel Grant, all about having fun. First run, not so much. Came down to a bit of a tumble. Here he is on course number 1. His first run score, a 20.66, took place on course number 2.
I love this kid's poise. He is literally halfway around his world to a big old backside 360 up to the corrugated pipe. This kid would have every reason to be all gripped up. However, he is riding super smooth, and kid doesn't lack any confidence, apparently.
Here he is, toe side on the transfer.
Nice.
Just a little lip slide there. Toe side transfers are way harder than the hillside transfers.
He's doing it again, and does he rewind it?
Yeah.
Yes, this time he gets it.
Lands it cleanly. Now, guys, the judges are going to see that he started the rotation maybe a little early on that last kicker, but as far as style, as far as cleaning up what he did in the first run, very solid.
He also didn't take it as far with the rotation, but he did get a back 3. Now, look at that. A backside 360 just taps off that corrugated pipe up there, but he's hopping up some 7 feet. And again, here you're seeing him coming off that. Now look at this rotation. He's got to stop his entire body's momentum. Rock solid grab there as well for a little steez. And now he's reversing things up in the air. And he's almost down, but he still has the presence of mind to take it another $180 on the rotation. Wow, incredible stuff. Daniel Grant really stepped it up from his first effort.
Doing it for old Thailand.
An international field of competitors here, some of the best in the world. What am I saying? Some of the best in the world have traveled to the Redbull Wake Open to find out who is the best of our three-part disciplines. We had boat, we had big air. You are watching the park competition right now. When we're in the midst of the final, we've completed 2 of 3 runs, and 14-year-old Daniel Grant of Thailand in the water waiting for his score to come down. Now there's 2 courses here. He has competed on 1 and 2, but he's gonna need to go and clean up on the course just a bit.
Yeah, earlier when he had his effort on course number 1, he didn't put up as clean of a run as we just saw right there. So yeah, you'll definitely see Daniel Grant referring back over for his 3rd element, hitting up course number 1 one more time. But man, if he can link together another score like that, that's gonna put him right up there amongst the best.
I think whatever he has to do to line up a better angle into that kicker so he can really get the kick that he was getting last night and do that maneuver as good as he wants to do, that's going to be the make or break between that last run and the next one.
Why is that German smiling? He is your current leader with just 1 run to go here at the Redbull Wake Open, the park discipline. Meanwhile, Daniel Grant making his way onto the dock, his score coming down, a 30.66, gives him a total of 51.32 with 1 run to go to clean things up. We are down to our 3rd and final runs here in Tampa. You're watching the Redbull Wake Open, part of the Redbull Signature Series. Beautiful Tampa, Florida, the Redbull Wake Open. With 1 run remaining in the park competition, here are your standings. German Nico Von Larssen, 59.82. De Rome, who is the overall leader and winner of the weekend with a 58.92. Daniel Grant sits in 3rd, the 14-year-old, and then Hurdler rounding out our finalists. It's down to 1 run, make or break. No one's out of this thing just yet, guys, as Rafael De Rome is sitting on a 58.92.
Yeah, Raph has won every Wake Park 2.0 event this year. That's probably about 4 or 5. And him being not in first place right now, he's kind of a fish out of water because usually he is in first place. And I can guarantee you, he does not want to lose this contest.
270 on, 270 off. But to think about it, he's only a couple of points out of first place with a complete throwaway run earlier. I mean, that just bodes for what kind of prowess he's bringing up. Look at that. Oh, just tapped and came off, though. He needs something big right now. And he got it all right.
Rafael De Rome dials up the double. What a show on the final kick of the competition for the Canadian.
This is going to be interesting. The kicker was amazing. Hands down, flawless double. But he did fall off the transfer.
Yep, here it is. Oh, this is the nice move up. 270 on, 270 off.
It was a mediocre quarter pipe hit, but this next one coming up is the one that he fell off, and the judge, it just isn't a kicker contest. This has to do a lot with the rails, so the judges weigh everything equally, so we'll see what they think about it.
We're seeing right now his 2nd rotation in that half-cat double back roll coming off of that kicker ramp right there, and look at that, he just nailed it, minimalizing the spray so the judges know that that was a stomped landing right there. But Parks, just what you had said, coming off of that big M gap right there, he did just do a tickle, he didn't drill it.
Remember, your leader right now is a 59.82 in the form of Nico Von Larssen, and he's going to need a 27.6. Rafael De Rome, that's what he's looking for. That would put him into first place with 3 competitors still to go.
I suspect he's going to get it right now, but again, the other 3 guys are still ready to drop their hammers upcoming, so.
27.60, so he does go into the lead, so Rafael De Rome now is your leader.
I'm not going down there.
We'll see how much Daniel Grant's smiling now.
Like this kid. Going over right now. The Austrian rider out there, Dominic Hurdler, coming up to course number 1.
That's what he wants.
Much better.
Notice
Much better.
Notice the black top on that is rounded. It's way harder to lock in and slide the whole thing. Not a flat surface.
Dominic Hurdler, the 20-year-old out of Austria on his final run.
Little backside 180 tail press.
To 180 out?
Yeah, this is what he needs, the Indy Pete Rose.
Here's the Indy. There's the Pete Rose.
Oh, he's holding on. He's holding on.
And the suspension just drags on.
Oh, right?
The tip of the board just purled, but he held on for all he was worth, sitting in 4th place coming into that run, and well, he had something cooking there.
You know what, Parks? You pointed out earlier, this full pull that he got on the M gap, it goes 30 feet up as we're seeing the replay right now of this attempt at the Pete Rose. It's an Indy toe side back roll. A distinct move right there. Now he's going for the rotation portion. Notice keeping that handle to the small of his back, trying to get that board to rotate around there.
That's what makes that trick so hard, is how long he waits to do that last 360. Not as psyched as he wanted to be, wanted to stick that. Redbull, Ronek's team rider.
That gapping, though, of the M gap, the M rail right there, that was the best we've seen on that all day.
All right, guys, Nico Von Larssen, he was in the lead. He's sitting on a 59.82. That's good enough for 2nd place right now. We know he's capable of doing much better. Here he is, working his way down to the quarter pipe. He is on course number 1.
He's clearly the best on the quarter pipes, and shows right there. Big Indy front side, little disaster. Coming into the M gap.
Nice, back 3 to 50-50.
Notice how well he locked onto that. The judges are really going to appreciate it. If
Double.
he can get this, he
What?
gets it.
Oh my gosh, he landed like a ton of bricks, but then just stood up right out of it.
Oh, the judges are going to have their hands full here. Good. He is a little sloppier on the double, but he locked in a lot harder than Raph did on all the other rails. Way bigger on the quarter pipe. Overall, I kind of think that was a better run than Raph's.
Pair of shakas right there. I've got to agree with you there as well. As you're seeing him coming off right there, getting that grip on as well, doing the double back half. There's the one, and look at that. I mean, just staying tucked up into a ball. That's how you get the rotation.
That's what they say. You say grab and go.
Yep, and look at this. Now, here's the landing. He does get his body down to the water. He almost disappeared. And I like how he's just going to come up like nothing. It's all good.
All right, someone much smarter than me, and there's a lot of them, has come up with the math. He needs a 38.01 to take the lead away from Rafael De Rome, guys. It was on course number 1. Agree with everything you said about locking in, but here's the question. Is he being judged against himself, or is he being judged against what Rafael just did?
That's a very good question. I almost wonder if you do stuff too consistent all the time, do they think that you can do it too easy?
Oh, Parks, throughout your career, you were labeled like that. Parks was the kind of guy who was,
He goes into 2nd place with a 34.66. He needed a 38.01. So Nico Von Larssen, the worst he's going to do is 3rd place. He's currently sitting in 2nd place. Rafael De Rome is your leader. And what a way to finish up the competition. You send out the 14-year-old from Bangkok, Thailand, Daniel Grant, on for his 3rd and final run.
I'm pulling for this kid for a number of reasons. I just like his attitude, I like his style, but he's gonna have to do something wickedly impressive.
Not a bad start there.
Nice nose press to backside 3 coming off that handrail. This is gonna have to be a momentous run in the history of wakeboarding if he's gonna take this win here right now.
Nice little rock to fakie, showing good control. So slippery on those quarter pipes. There's no tension to kind of drag and get an edge control. Falling off to the inside, but getting a better line.
Reverse it, reverse it. Yeah. Oh, he does do it. Was that a 5 to a backside 180 right there?
I think that was the same move that he did for the Casio maneuver. The toe back 3 with a back 5 out.
So Daniel Grant concludes the competition of the 3rd runs. Guys, just quickly, he's going to need a 39.31 for the win.
Well, look at this. This is where he's now going to reverse his body's momentum, getting that grab. Now, look, he's going to spin the other way. His heels are to us. There's 1/2 of a turn. It was only a $180 rewind right there.
He does a toe side, backside 5, then grabs, and then rewinds it backside 180 the other way. That is just ridiculous.
That's nasty. So much movement. I mean, he's fighting his own body's centrifugal force, and he stomped it.
But will he be smiling?
Well,
Show us those cavities.
He did get the Casio stomp moment of the day with a 360 rewind to backside 540. He softens it up just a little bit there on the final run. Again, he's going to need a 39.31 on run number 3. That would give him the win. If he does not get that, your winner is going to be Rafael De Rome.
Man, can Raph go undefeated all year? The perfect season. I don't know if this has ever been done in wakeboarding.
You know, I like the way he had to go about it as well. He had his throwaway run as his first run, So he had the world's pressure upon him to keep that streak going. And boy, did Raph ever answer. All of these guys, all four of these guys, showed me something I didn't expect to see. These guys were some of the steeziest park riders I've ever seen.
Maybe he just wanted to give us a better show on live TV. I mean, well, that'd be boring, just him taking it down from the beginning. So why not kook your first run and then build a little suspension for the crowd?
33.83 is not going to get it done. Rafael De Rome gets the victory in the park competition. That goes with his win in the big air and his third place finish in the boat competition. What a weekend for the Canadian Rafael De Rome, as he is not only the winner of this event, but the overall event for the weekend.
And Todd, when you think about what this, I alluded to it earlier, what this event was intended to do, to bring out the most dynamic wakeboarder the world had to offer. Not a guy who could represent one. He was unreal.
So that brings the competition to conclusion. We will talk to the Canadian Rafael De Rome when we return to Tampa. You're watching the Red Bull Wake Open, part of the Red Bull Signature Series. So at the end of the competition here in the park event, Rafael De Rome once again finds himself on top of the podium with a 69.96. Nico Von Larssen second. Daniel Grant, the 14-year-old, grabs third place, and Dominic Hurdler rounds out the four finalists. We send it down on the docks. Tina Dixon with our overall winner.
Raph, 3 podiums, 2 wins, and that equals 1 overall win. Just describe this moment knowing you have pretty much dominated the last 3 days.
I'm out of words. I don't know what to say. It's amazing just riding here in Tampa in the middle of the city with so many people. It's the first time for me, and to ride it the best I could was, I couldn't ask for more.
Where do you see everything going with this sport?
I think that's the takeoff for the sport. I think that's a really good structure. I think we can see that kickers and double flips and rail events like this, and then bringing the boat too, makes a pretty special package, and I think that's what wakeboarding is all about.
Congratulations on the overall title. Todd?
All right, thank you very much, Tina. Congratulations to Rafael De Rome, not only winning the park and the big air and the overall for the weekend, but it's time now to give him another award. The Red Bull Signature Moment of the Weekend, guys. Who else? Rafael De Rome.
Of course, take a look right there. Going big, spinning more than anybody else here that we brought to Tampa with the big 1080 yesterday. It was the first crown jewel of the 2 he collected here, and the overall title is the most comprehensive wakeboarder that the world has to offer. Again, we went to the Great White North. It's the Canadian Rafael De Rome who took ownership of this event.
Well, a great event all weekend long. Our thanks to the good folks here in Tampa for hosting us and for making this really an epic event as we take a look at the upcoming events on the Red Bull Signature Series. You don't want to miss the Red Bull Hair Scramble. Of course, X-Fighters returns to action from beautiful Madrid, Spain, and then the Nike US Open of Surfing from Surf City, USA, Huntington Beach, California. So for Tina Dixon, Jeff Burton, and Parks Bonifay, I'm Todd Harris saying so long, Waterside. Here in Tampa, we send it back to our host, Sal Masekela.
Thank you, Todd. Indeed, an amazing day here at the Red Bull Wake Open in Tampa, Florida. Congratulations to Rafael De Rome on his overall win. Wakeboarding alive and well in 2012. Coming up next on NBC, stay tuned as golf's legendary players compete in the U.S. Senior Open from Lake Orion, Michigan. On behalf of our entire NBC Sports crew and myself, we will see you guys next time.